using evaluating LLMs, right? Like, um, so I've heard, I've been approached by people who have these problems, right? They're implementing either AI agents or LLM based workflows, and they want to evaluate how what are the results of this, right? So I don't know if maybe you could just share a few words about first how we could start to think about this problem
Yeah.
if it's tractable, and second, how does causality and LLMs fit together?
Mhm.
So I know
Yeah,
this is a
thanks a
big
lot.
topic, but
Yeah. So just to be sure, you want to know how to measure the impact of deploying, for example, an LLM.
yeah.
Okay,
So that's the
very good.
first part, and then the second part, if we
Yeah.
still have time, is how causality fits into LLMs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the second part, that's why I wanted to answer. Yes. Okay. So first, because it's just 10 minutes, I also let's know the audience that Monday I'm doing a full conference, free conference online, 1 hour and a half, exactly just on this.
Do you have
It's
a
on
link that
Pact.
we could share?
So it's organized by Pact. I think I will share tomorrow the link, but
Yeah,
it will be on my social media on
we'll
LinkedIn.
share it in the comments of the live event too.
Yeah, exactly. So this I have the link here. I can share it. I'll do it afterwards.
Okay.
Okay. So back to this. So as I like to say, causal inference is the answer to this $1 million question. Is you want to know the impact of deploying a causal, sorry, a chatbot, an LLM internally. Causal inference is the answer. I mean, if you want to measure the impact, that's the most reliable way to do it. But as I witnessed in my practice, something that I thought I'll never say um, is causal inference can be misleading. And in particular, it's not really causal inference, it's rather how people set up their experiments and sometimes overinterpret the results. And so, causal inference is the answer. It means that you can do randomized experiments in some context. Sometimes you can give the chatbot to some users, not to other users, and really compare. Sometimes you use more quasi-experimental methods. It's basically you deploy the chatbot at one time in a region or in different region or in all your region, in all your offices, but at different point in time. And you can use these differences with causal inference to measure the impact. But now I want to add, because this is the obvious answer, that's obvious to us, but it's still underused, sorry. But what I do the most in these talks and with companies is tell it can also be misleading if you don't do it right. In particular, I classify the mistakes in 3 categories: misunderstood pathway, misleading extrapolation, and external validity issues. Long story short, usually these framework allow you, and it's chapter 8 of my book, it allows you to pin down the potential issues and solve it by basically tracking the right metric or set of metrics. Let me give you the most obvious examples based on my practice. If you deploy a chatbot, usually there is a net time heterogeneity. It means the effect change over time. For example, in the beginning, you might learn how to use the chatbot to help you, and it might improve the work of your customer service if they have now access to a chatbot to find information. But they learn and they get better and better. So in the beginning, if you just focus on the beginning, maybe the effect is positive but small. If you wait a bit, there is a learning effect and it gets better. But what interests you is eventually the long-term effect. And we know, see, that also that we have this tendency to fall asleep at the wheel with AI. Once we are used to AI, generative AI, the chatbot, we become eventually lazy. We over-rely on AI, and then the performance might degrade just because people are less diligent. It's not even the tool that is changing, it's really the way we use the tool. And hence, I explain how tracking over time this time of effects, studying this is necessary to really answer the right question. You also have, for example, sometimes you just track the impact on short-term metrics, but you want the impact on the longer term. For example, you give your marketing team some Gen AI tool that help them write content, and they can flood the internet with contents on social media, and hence they will typically traditionally focus on followers counts, impressions, interactions. All these metrics might go up, but then I really always combine causal inference with system thinking. That's not the right question. Why do you want more followers? It's not about followers. You want long-term growth. And the thing is, these strategies where you use Gen AI to create content might harm on brand loyalty. It might create trust issues from the customers and loyal customers, which is very destructive in the long term. And then just flooding the web with more content that will mechanically kind of drive impression and up and follower count is probably a destructive strategy if you look at the right metrics. So again, there are technical solutions to these problems. The last one is about understanding the pathway, what drives the effect, what we discussed. For example, you have your, again, customer service, and you don't replace them with a chatbot, you just give them a chatbot to help working. You deploy this, you A/B test, and you see that the people in your customer service who have access to the chatbot are performing better. They solve problems faster, they solve more problems, and so on and so forth. And you say, great, you pop the champagne. But the thing is, what might happen is just a motivation effect. Now the customer service feel, okay, our management deployed a fancy AI tool, and they are just more motivated, which improve the quality of their work. They put more effort. If it's the case, it might be short-lived. And here again, by tracking the right metrics, first by identifying this different pathway and tracking the right metrics, you can disentangle the different stories and then answer these complex questions and know if the effect is probably short-lived because it's just a motivational boost, or if it's actually you boost the quality of the work and make it more efficient, and hence this is a good decision and you might decide to deploy fully. So these are the main things. And to summarize, yes, causal inference is the answer, but you should do it right. And it's relatively subtle when you want to measure the impact of AI because it's really a multidimensional tool.